Coming up on Mountain News this morning, state leaders react to Russia's invasion over in Ukraine, and Kentuckians with their own ties to Ukraine call for unity and prayer in this historic time.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:01 here on this Friday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Dakota Makris, and I wasn't having a hard time waking up, Brandon, until we went to a commercial break and I could hear the rain just hitting the roof, and I was like, just a good nap right
Sleepy
now.
time.
Yes, but
exactly.
Oh well, you know what? We are up and we are at it this morning.
That's right, up and at it, and we've got to go get it done today, and we're going to see the rain finally move out a little bit later on, but not quite yet. Let's take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar, tracking some heavier rain through parts of the Cumberland Valley into southwest Virginia. Take a little closer look there. Harlan getting some pretty good rain right now, back toward Everett, up toward Ewing and over Lee County, Middlesboro, toward Pineville, back on 119 there, back over toward Corbett and Barberville and Knox County. Girdler area seeing some pretty good rain this morning, and then it eventually moved toward Pennington Gap and Cumberland here in the next little bit. Fog's pretty real out there this morning. If you see anything less than 5 miles on this map, which includes Logan, Hazard, Harlan, Middlesboro, and that's about it right now, at least on the airport sensors. Just be careful out there. I noticed some fog near the lake between Letcher and Knott counties this morning there, so just give yourself plenty of time to get back and forth. Remember that water ponding on the roads too, where those heavy rain showers have hit overnight. Cold front still moving through, so temperatures in the 30s in the northern counties and 50s in the south, so we're going to continue to watch that. 56 was the high at midnight today. Actually 43 at Jackson, 60 at London Corbin, but again, we're kind of splitting the difference on that too. Average high for today is 52, record high 76, set back on this day 22 years ago in 2000. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Well, the world watched and braced to see if Russia would invade Ukraine, and late Wednesday night, it happened. We talked with an educator about what the invasion means for us here at home.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell in Washington, and we are coming on the air because the war in Ukraine has begun.
Late Wednesday night, Russian troops moved into Ukraine.
Yesterday afternoon, it became clear that the Ukrainians were finally panicking. The Ukrainians had played this very, very cool and very, very chill.
After months of a Russian military presence at Ukraine's border, I asked Dr. Robert Farley, a senior lecturer at the Patterson School of Diplomacy and International Commerce at the University of Kentucky, why Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to invade. He says Putin believes Ukraine is an artificial creation of the West.
That essentially Kiev and Ukraine are part of the Russian heartland and part of Russian civilization. And so the very existence of a democratic government in Ukraine is an aggression against Russia.
Multiple nations have issued sanctions against Russia. Dr. Farley says it is too late for Russia to back down.
And so President Putin obviously has not been deterred. At this point, the sanctions are really going to be about punishment and are going to be about convincing the Russians 3 years from now that this was a terrible idea.
But how will that affect us here? We could see higher energy prices, and in addition, you may already be paying more at the pump.
The U.S. doesn't import or export any energy with Russia, but of course Russia does export a lot of natural gas and a lot of oil. To the extent that those exports are disrupted, that means that the global prices of natural gas and oil are going to increase. I suspect right now that people are making phone calls, arranging financing for an increase in natural gas production and oil production in the United States.
Dr. Farley believes the U.S. will not send troops to Ukraine. Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. Well, President Joe Biden announced new sanctions yesterday, saying the United States and its allies will block assets of 4 large Russian banks, impose export controls, and sanction oligarchs. Governor Andy Beshear also shared his reaction yesterday, saying now is the time for Americans to come together.
What I'd ask is that this be a time of unity. This should be a reminder that we have real enemies overseas that want to harm us and others, and that we are not each other's enemies. It's time for America to be united.
Congressman Hal Rogers also shared his reaction to the invasion, saying he condemns Vladimir Putin's deadly invasion of Ukraine and urges a bold response to hold Russia accountable. Now, he's also saying, quote, Vladimir Putin's brazen strikes on Ukraine are an international breach of peace and an evil attempt to extend his reach of power. I firmly condemn this deadly attack, and I pray for God's protection over the people of Ukraine, as well as added strength in their defense. The United States must be bold in holding Russia accountable. and thwart Putin's unjustified aggression against a sovereign nation, end quote. Well, also, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell spoke to reporters Thursday morning in Louisville supporting President Joe Biden. World leaders denounced the start of the long-anticipated invasion with far-reaching consequences.
We're all together at this point, and we need to be together about what should be done. But I have some advice. Ratchet the sanctions all the way up. Don't hold any back. Every single available tough sanction should be employed, and should be employed now. There's no such thing as a little invasion.
Russia's actions could cause massive casualties, topple Ukraine's democratically elected government, and upend geopolitics and Europe's post-Cold War security balance. Well, Kentuckians with ties to Ukraine are pushing for unity. You probably recognize the name of longtime Kentucky attorney and Floyd County Animal Shelter Board member Ned Pillersdorf. What you might not know is that he is of Ukrainian descent. His grandfather was forced to escape his homeland because of the way Russia treated Ukrainians. Pillersdorf is among the many people around the world currently praying for Ukraine.
I'm worried about the poor Ukrainian citizens who are rushing to get out of the cities. And we certainly pray this is over sooner rather than later.
And the Ukrainian Pentecostal Church in Nicholasville asks everyone to take some time at 5 p.m. today to join in on a united prayer for the people of Ukraine and for people of Russia who do not want this conflict wherever you may be. Well, we have an update. State troopers say it was a credible tip that they received late Tuesday that eventually led them to name Shannon Gilday as the suspect in a Madison County murder case. Nearly 72 hours after Jordan Morgan's death, Gilday is still on the run in connection to the crime. Troopers say he forced his way into the home early Tuesday morning before killing Jordan and shooting her father, former state representative Wesley Morgan. Troopers say they have not found a direct connection between Gilday and the family or motive, but believe he had a violent intentions when he broke in.
We know that he was armed with a rifle. Very shortly after making entry, almost immediately, that's when those shots started being fired, and Miss Morgan was fatally struck. So it doesn't appear that it was necessarily just a burglary. There was a criminal action and a violent intent, we believe.
Well, troopers say they believe Gilday may have camping equipment with him in his car, believed to be a white 2016 Toyota Corolla. They're asking people who live in rural areas or near state parks and national forests to be on the lookout. Well, we have an update to an investigation by our sister station, WSAZ. Back in September, the investigation revealed an ambulance wasn't available during more than a dozen emergencies in Magoffin County. Each time, first responders from neighboring counties answered those calls for help. Well, county officials say they've been trying for more than a year to start their own service, but red tape at the state level is holding them back. Kimberly Kagi reports.
A bill sitting in the legislature waiting to be heard by lawmakers could speed up life-saving services. A sign of change the Cook family's been praying for.
There should never be a hold up for people getting emergency services.
We first introduced you to the family after their heartbreaking story. Help arrived too late and their loved one died. Back in September, our investigation revealed an ambulance wasn't available during more than a dozen emergencies in Magoffin County. Each time, a crew from a neighboring county had to respond, according to 911 logs. County leaders say red tape at the state level's to blame for holding up life-saving services. According to a draft of House Bill 505, it would eliminate the need for a new ambulance service to obtain a certificate of need. In eastern Kentucky, this could speed up the process for 3 counties looking to open new ambulance services, something existing providers in the area have fought against, even though the current providers may be unable to keep up with the demand.
There are several other counties in eastern Kentucky alone that's trying to get, the same thing that Magoffin County tried to do, and they're being held up by this.
If House Bill 505 is passed, Kentucky would join 48 other states that don't require a certificate of need license to open and operate an ambulance service.
This could take a step and get us ahead and make motions that your people aren't having to suffer for.
a solution this family's been praying for.
That was Kimberly Kagi reporting. Hawaii is the only other state besides Kentucky that requires a certificate of need to open and operate an ambulance service. The bill moves forward to the Health and House Standing Committee on Health and Family Services.
Heaviest bands of rain pushing quickly toward the Kentucky-Virginia border here at 6:11. We're going to continue to see that trend heading through the rest of the morning there. Hopefully by about 8 or 9 o'clock, all this rain has moved out of the region, but still watching for some heavy rain there in some areas along the border, including up on Whitesburg Pine Mountain there. US 119 looking pretty soggy this morning, so take it easy out there. Ponding water, high water, and again, most of our flood watch has been canceled already because of the rain on the way out. Temperatures in the 30s up toward Moorhead, Irvin, Somerset, and Monticello. Even in Williamsburg, 39 now, and 54 on the other end of the spectrum there, Wise and Jonesville this morning. 43, give or take a degree or two. It's kind of a hard thing to pinpoint there because temperatures will drop for a while before rebounding. Chances for rain early, then mostly cloudy skies today. As we look ahead, river flooding is still possible, even this weekend, and even after the rain ends. We have several flood warnings out. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. A drier weekend overall, and then a beautiful end to the shortest month of the year on Monday. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. The time is 6:12 now. When we come back here on Mountain News this morning, the trial involving a former Kentucky police officer sees its second day. What are those details coming up?